It's real kachim, he said. Okay. Today we're on Samech Daled. So we have, it's a difficult case. We have the case, the Torah was marbeh mechusar zman. The Torah was marbeh mechusar zman for the Sa'ir Mishtaleach. That even the Sa'ir Mishtaleach, which is not a korban on the Mizbeach, has to be 8 days old. And the Gemara says, what do I even need the ribui for? If the only way that you could have a Se'ir Mishtaleach is by being Magril, and therefore it has to be Ra'ui to be the Se'ir Hashem, and the Se'ir Hashem is a korban. So anyway, the Se'ir Mishtaleach by default, even without a special pasuk, is always going to wind up being a 8-day-old Sa'ir. What do you have to tell me that Shemonat Yamin Tachat, Shivat Yamin Tachat Imum? So the Gemara said, well, maybe we're going like Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon holds that once you made a goral, the second one you can do without a goral. If it dies, you put a second one without it. Then the Gemara, huh? And that could be under 8 because it's going straight to the Azazel. The second answer we said is no. It's going where you it got a mum. It got a mum. Whose answer was that?
Wait, the first answer was Hanan.
No, we threw a Hanan mitzvah. Ravina says it got a mum. Then we have a third answer on the top of Samach Daled. Rava Amar, I don't understand this at all. Kegon shehaya lo chole betoch beto v'shahat imo biyom kippurim. Says it's mechusar zman. How do you have a mechusar zman? Really, it's 8 days old. Really, it's 8 days old. But it became mechusar zman. Mechusar zman is a slightly different type of mechusar zman. That otov etimo lo tishchatu b'yom echad, right? So you went to who's the dealer? Jimmy's the dealer. Jimmy's not here. Well, he doesn't come up, right? Jimmy's korbanot are us, and he sold you a beautiful. He came late yesterday. He lost his bicycle, right? So he sold you the two seirim, right? They're both the same, right? And then the next day, right? Somebody came to him. Somebody's very sick. We need some fresh goat meat. So they shechted the mother of one of the goats on Yom Kippur. Now, it happens to be that the sa'ir that's in the Beit HaMikdash is now asur to be used.
They didn't label them somehow?
Labeled.
Or they just...
Pikuach nefesh. Well, you want this lady to die? This is the one that the doctor said is the right one.
It's the only one he has.
Only one he has. He sold out. Yeah, whatever the case is. Right, Rashi.
And they found that after the Agrala.
That'll make a difference.
No, but he said before Agrala.
I'll go banim. It became mechusar zman.
Before Agrala, he said a problem because it might be you should have shifted.
Okay. Yeah.
It has to be after.
Right. Mechusar zman, Rashi. Mechusar zman de itzrich kra lesa'ir mishtaleach kegon shaya lo lemi shemochran letzibur hole betoch beto. The guy that sold him has a sick person. Shemutar lehalel alav yom kippurim. V'shahat et imo shel sa'ir. He slaughtered the mother. Shena'asa mechusar zman mishum oto ve'beno la'achar she'vil alav. It became mechusar zman. So I'm not sure. I'm missing a point. We're not learning. We're talking about mechusar zman of 8 days, and that's mechusar zman because of oto ve'beno. So do we learn that mechusar zman is asur litzibur from this other thing? I'm not sure how it works. Where's the
What's the difference?
He says it's after the goral. Mechusar zman lemitzvato because of oto ve'beno.
still have to bring in on if you don't have like a Shimon. So what's the difference with the reason?
No, we're avoiding the Shimon.
How? You still have to do a drada, you still have to go get a more.
He says, but the Sfat Emet asked my question. It's not mechusar zman. It's the Isur of Otov Beno. So the Sfat Emet says, in the name of his son-in-law, Rabbi Yaakov Meir Bidman, right, that you would say, Otov Beno, let's say I shechted Otov Beno. But the avad it's kasher, it's an Isur to shech. Mashenkin over here, because it's mechusar zman, the korban is pasul.
If it's used for the Azazel, they're throwing it off the mountain. They're not shechting it.
No, don't worry, Paul. That's the Gemara's next question. So the Gemara says, "V'chi hagavna mi asir."
What do you do now that it's not allowed to be shechted? You're not allowed.
No, I'm not allowed to shecht it. But why am I not allowed to shecht it? Because it's shivat yamim niyeh tachat imo, or because it's otovet beno. So once you have the pasuk of otovet beno, I'm not allowed to shecht it anyway. So what's the pasuk of shivat yamim tachat imo teaching me? Shivat yamim tachat imo is pasuk is not 8 days old. This korban was 8 days old, right? It was good yesterday. We bought a good korban. So what made a mechusar zman that the mother died? Right? They killed the mother today. Shechted the mother today. Very good. So what's the psul? The psul is otovet beno, not miyuma shemini v'hala.
I can't do it today. I can do it
I got you, but it's not mechusar zman because of 8 days. So the pasuk that says don't shecht it before the 8 days is still not teaching me anything. So what do I need it for? Says the Sfat Emet in the name of his son-in-law, somebody Yaakov Biderman. He says that the chidush is if you did it, it's pasul. Meaning now that it's mechusar zman. So what's the difference if it's mechusar zman because it's not 8 days old, or it's mechusar zman because it's otovet beno? Be'etzem it's mechusar zman. What the Torah taught me not only is that before 8 days you can't shecht it, but if you shecht it, it's not a korban. Lo yatzate yedei chova. So that second part, that if you shecht it before 8 days, the korban is no good. That's what I'm applying to this otovet beno. That even though I did it. Sorry. Is it pasul? The psul that if you do it before 8 days, not only do you get an isur, but say that it's acceptable, that the korban is counted. That's what I'm learning from there.
I can eat it, but I can't bring it to be the one of the set because of that pasuk.
Exactly. Meaning, if you would have shechted otovet beno, the avad the shechita is kasher. When it's doing it for a korban, it's pasul because of yeratzeh. Says Gemara. Now Paul's question: is otovet beno asur on Azazel? Right? Lo tishchatu amar Rahman. Torah says don't shecht it. V'halav shechitahi. You don't slaughter the Azazel. So what? I can kill it. I can shoot it otovet beno. Ha'amri b'ma'arava dechiyato latzuk. Zehu shechitato. Pushing it off, that's the shechita. Rashi. Mi asir leholicho latzuk mishum otovet beno. So we say, yeah, in ma'arava they say pushing it off has the status of shechita.
What's the reason that's to do it the same day?
I'm not getting into reasons. Let's go. Im shel shem met. Ze she'ala alav hagoral. What? Im shel shem met. Ze she'ala alav hagoral. Lashem yitkayem tachtav. V'hasheni, and the second one yirei yistayim. Now, when the shel shem dies, and you make the new goral, what do I have? I have one shem and two azazels. Right? I have the original Azazel and the new Azazel. I won't say improved because it's not. It's just another Azazel. Two Azazels. The old one and the new one. So he said, Zesh ala lava goral lashem ya'amot tachtav. It takes the place. It replaces the old one. The hasheni and the second one, yir'eh. Right? What's the lashon of the Mishnah? The hasheni and the other one, which is the sheni. Amar Rav. Rav says, sheni shebezug rishon yikarev. Sheni shebezug sheni yir'eh. Rav says, which shem which Azazel should I do? Says the first one, the original.
You can't do the first one. That's why you made a second one.
No, it's one is dead. Right?
That's
The
the
Shem died. Right? Shem died. So I replaced the Shem. Now I have two Azazel. Should I use the original or the new one? Rav says, Sheni shebezug rishon yikarev. Bring the first one. Sheni shebezug sheni yireh. The second one, from the second one, let it graze. Use the original. Because it's the sheni, because the number one is the one that we replaced. Meaning this is the sheni. So they're both shenis.
So it's changing what sheni means, because we're thinking the sheni is the second one that you
No,
brought.
meaning sheni, meaning the second one from the pair that he brought. That's what we mean. Okay. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Sheni shebezug rishon yireh. The first one, the original one, grazes. Sheni shebezug sheni, the second one from the second pair, yikarev, should be the korban. B'mai kamuflagi, what are they arguing? Rav savar ba'alei chayim enam nidchi. But Rabbi Yochanan savar ba'alei chayim nidchi. We have a concept called nidche. Nidche is, or dichui. Dichui is if you had something that was roi for a korban and it became ineligible, it cannot go back to being eligible anymore. Once it's pushed off, it's pushed off. The question is, does that concept apply to living animals or only to dead after shechita? So Rav
should have a choice, no?
Opposite. According to Rav, I should have a choice. Rav says, Ba'alei chayim enam nidchin. That Gemara is going to ask that now. Right? So the Gemara says, My ta'amad Rav. What's Rav's reason? First, we're going to get there. Okay. Rashi first. En nidchin. Im ir'a lahem sh'at psul. If there was a time of psul, yecholim lehitaken. We could fix them kishi is daveg lo acher. When we remake them with another one. V'lo amrinan, and we don't say ho'il v'nidche because it was rejected when it didn't have a pair. Yidche, it gets pushed off forever. When do we say that? Ela b'shechutin. We say that by something that's already nishchat. Kegon, like what we said in the Mishnah, met mishtaleach. If the mishtaleach died, yishafech adam. The blood is shechutin. That's nidche. But a live animal, no.
Nothing wrong with it.
It's nidche because it says ya'omad chai. The other one, you have to have a pair. Ya'omad chai lechaper alav. You need the se'ila azazel to be standing there until you finish the kapara. So if the se'ila azazel died, the dam is pasul.
We're talking about the Azazel.
Both doesn't make a difference. They're both the same. I need to have the se'ila azazel there till I finish the kapara. So if anyone is not there, in the meantime, the other one is no good. I can't go forward. So being that it was temporarily disqualified, the question is, if it's alive, is it permanently disqualified? Rav says no. Rabbi Yochanan says yes. Says the Gemara, Rav, my ta'amad Rav, where does Rav see that ba'alei chayim en nidchin? The yalif me mechusar zman. He learns from the case of mechusar zman, right, which we spoke about yesterday or this morning. Mechusar zman, about an animal is born. Right? The animal wasn't ra'oi to be a kurban. After 8 days, it becomes ra'oi. We don't say, it wasn't good, it says not good. Why? Because it's alive. Because it's alive, it's not nidche. Says the Gemara, mi dami, is that a comparison? Hata, lo itchazi klal. Over there, it was never a kurban. It had never been good to become disqualified. Over here it was good, and then it became bad. That's worse. That's worse. To be qualified and then get disqualified, maybe you stay disqualified. So you can't bring a proof from there.
Why was Haber supposed to be?
What?
That's
There's not a pasuk that says that that's okay. You don't have a pasuk that says that if you had otovet beno it's kasher tomorrow. Maybe it's pasul. Says Gemara, Ela hainu ta'amad Rav. You know Rav's reason? The yalif mi ba'al mum over. You have a case of a temporary mum. It's not a permanent mum. It's a temporary mum. So you have a korban, and it developed a temporary mum. When the mum goes away, you could use it. So you see, ba'alei chayim enam nidchin. Ba'al mum over. Lav afal gav. de lo hazi hashta. Right now, it's not eligible. Ki hadar michzi, when it's going to become ra'ui. Shapir dami, it's okay. Hachanami loshna. So what's the difference if the psul is a mum or the psul is missing a partner? Whatever the psul is, when it goes away, it goes away. Tachui now, that's good later. If anything, a mum is worse. The mum is in his body.
It's not that it's like, because if it's going to get better, that means it was never bad.
No. Right now it's bad.
You can't do it now. You
Bad.
can't shift it now.
No, it's a mum. You can't bring it. Mum. We're going to see.
You can't do it now.
Says the Gemara, V'hata minalan. How do you know this concept that a mum over becomes better? Dichtiv, ki moshchatam, the pasuk is miyad ben nechar lo takrivu, et lechem Elohem mikol ele. All the mumim that I mentioned. Ki moshchatam bahem, mum bam lo yiratzu lachem. So we say, moshchatam bahem, mum bam, when the mum is there, huda lo yiratzu. Ha avar mumam yiratzu. So mum bam is extra to teach me it's only pasul when the mum lasts. If the mum goes away, it's okay. So that's good proof. Temporary mumim are okay. The korban was nidche, and then it comes back. Rabbi Yochanan mi'et rahamana bahem, right? Moshchatam bahem mumba. Only by him, only by mumim do we say if the mum over goes away, it comes back. Bahem hu dechi avar mumam yiratzu. Ha kol dechuyim ho'il v'nidchu nidchu. Adrabah, this is the source. It says by mum over. Moshchatam bahem mumbam. Only over here by mumim do we say mumbam. When the mum is there, it's no good. When the mum goes away, it's good. Any other psul, even if it goes away, it stays no good. V'rav, what are you going to do about him? Hahu bahem be'enyano be'enayu lo mirtzu. Sorry. Ha al yedei ta'arovet mirtzu. Only when the korban is alone is it not miratzeh. But if the korban got mixed in with other korbanot, it's miratzeh kedetanan, like we learned. Evarim temimim, be'evarim ba'ale mumim. You have 100 olot, right? It was a very busy day in the Beit HaMikdash. Thank you. They brought 100 olot. Assembly line style. They killed them all. They chopped them all. And one Kohen is looking at him, and he finds out, well, look, you didn't notice this one had a mum. You guys went too fast. Now, you have no idea which piece is which, right? What do I do? What should we do? Evarim temimim. Be'evarim ba'ale mumim. Rabbi Eliezer Omer.
How do we get into this case?
Well, this is what Rabbi is using the Derashav Bahem for. Ready? Em karev harosh shel echad mehem yikrevu kol harashim kulam. Kira'av shel echad mehem yikrevu kol kira'im kulam. Look at Rashi. Ha al yedeh ta'arovet yiratzu keRabbi Eliezer. He's going like Rabbi Eliezer. I don't know if it means that Rav has to hold like Rabbi Eliezer. Evarim shel olah temimim. Shenet'arvu bahem. They got mixed in with them. Evarim ba'aleh mum achat. One ba'al mum got mixed in. Im karev harosh shel echad mehem kodem she'ergishu b'dvar. We said they were going fast. If one rosh already went on the mizbeach, so then we say yikrevu kol harashim kulam. Bring all of them. V'tolim ha'isur be'oto shekarev kvar. And we assume that the Baal Mum might have been that one. V'talinan lekula. And we're tole lekula. The ho'il v'net arvu, since they got mixed. En kan safek isur deoraita lemeza lechumra. It's not a deoraita that we have to be machmir. Why is it not a deoraita? The Torah only told you not to be makriv ba'al mum when you know it's a ba'al mum and it's clear. Shene'emar bahem ki moshchatam bahem mumbam ki itinu be'enayu, when it's clearly a ba'al mum. But once it gets mixed in, it's only an isud rabbanan. So once it's an isud rabbanan, Rabbi Eliezer says it's okay Once one of them was brought, I could be tole. That one was probably the Baal Mum. The rest of them called the Parish Miruba Parish. Bring him up. Right? The Chachamim Omrim, and the Chachamim say, Afilu karvu kulam chutz me'echa mehem. Even if all of them were karev except for one, yetzeh lebet haserefa burn. So everybody agrees, even Rabbi Yochanan agrees, even the Chachamim agree that midoraita there's only issue to be makriv a Baal Mum on its alone. Elama Rabbi Eliezer is mekel this kula by Isud Rabbanan. The Chachamim are not mekel, but everybody agrees that it's only in Isud Rabbanan. Where do we learn it from? Ki moshchatam bahem. When it's be'ayin, when you know this is a Baal Mum, you can't be makriv. Once the Baal Mum got mixed in with other ones and it's not ikar, midoraita that's mutar to be makriv. The question is, what do we do with Rabbanan?
What about the concept of batil?
It could be that by kadashim it needs a separate pasuk.
Also, he could be like, why was the Rabbi Mesupak? It has to be like Rabbi Eliezer.
Took me time to figure it out.
Oh, okay.
Says Gemara, Ve'idach, nu Rabbi Yochanan, where you going to learn this kula out from? Nafkalei mi bam bahem. It could have said ki moshchatam bam mum bam. Bam and bahem is the same. Why you use the term bahem? To teach me both. Oh, number one, only when they're alone. The second thing, that we only mekel on something that passed, a psul that passed, that went away by mumim, not by other things. By other things we say dichui. Bam bahem, the idach and Rav, bam bahem lo darish. The bam bahem is not a dirasha. Rashi, mi bam bahem, mi dematzi michtav bam v'katav bahem. So it comes out the machloke Rav and Rabbi Yochanan. According to Rabbi Yochanan, you can't be makruv the first one. Why? Because it was nidche. Once it's nidche, it's off. You got to bring the second one. The first one yirei hachi istaev, and the second one you bring. Rav says first one was not nidche, so I could bring the first one. I could bring the second one. Rav says bring the first one. Says the Gemara ul Rav. This is Michael's question. Nihi nami de balei chayim enam nidchim. Even if you all that a baal chay is not nidche. Let Rav say, bring whichever one you want. Why you say only bring the first one? Amarava, Rav, Savarla, Rabbi Yossi. Rav holds like Rabbi Yossi. The Amar, mitzvah barishon. Rabbi Yossi says it's always a mitzvah to use the first one. We just had this on Shabbat, and the Gemara repeats the whole sugya again. Right? Hey, Rabbi Yossi. Which Rabbi Yossi? If you're going to say Rabbi Yossi of the kupot by the Terumat Halishcha, the Tanan we learned. Shalosh kupot, 3 boxes. Shalosh sa'in. Each one held 3 sa'in. Shebahem tormim et halishcha. They would use them to take out the money, the mahatzita shekel coins from the lishcha. The katuv alehem aleph bet gimal. It says aleph on one, bet on the second, gimal on the third. V'tanya, we learned Amar Rabbi Yossi lama katuv alehem aleph bet gimal. Why does it say aleph bet gimal? Leda eze mehem netrema rishon. So you should know which one they scooped first. Leavi hemen arishon, to bring from it first. Shemitzvah barishon. It's a mitzvah to use it first. So l'chaura, you have a good point that it's always a mitzvah to use the first one that was designated for the mitzvah. Says the Gemara, there was a minhag by the matzot to write aleph bet gimal on the first one. The second, so they should use it for the first one for the kohen like that, right? Dilma shani hatam tebeidna deitchazi kamaita lo itchazi batraita. So you can't bring a proof from there. Over there, there's no qualifying process. So as soon as you scoop the first one, it's really ready. The second one became ready later. So therefore, the first one was ki'ilu online first. He gets first. But over here, right, by the korbanot, right, you in the middle of the process, there's the Azazel died, right? So the Shem, now I need a new Shem. The Shem is not Ra'ui until after you finish the process. It's not Ra'ui until after you do the Goral. It's not Ra'ui until after you do the Shechita of the par and the dam of the par and all the things of the par. So it's not Ra'ui yet. You can't Shechti yet.
You have to do that also over again for par?
No, because it was a goral. But this animal is not always. Look at Rashi. Be'idna de'et chazi kamaita lo et chazi batraita aval hai by the sa'ir lo et chazi kama had et chazi batra. The first one doesn't become ra'ui until the second one becomes ra'ui. Meaning they both become ra'ui at the same time.
So we go first.
She'af al pi shehegril alav. Even though I made the goral en ra'ui li shacher al ahar matan dam apar until after they finish the dam of the par. Ubetoch kach, in between that, met chavero, right? The other one died. Veheviu shnayim, they brought another two. Vegrilu alehem. Or shegia zman shechitat ha'sa'ir, when the time came to shach the sa'ir, kivar ze acharon omed. So they become ra'ui to be nishchat at the same time.
There's no rishon.
There's a rishon and a sheni. But you can't learn it from the kupot, because by the kupot, the first one became ra'ui as soon as you did it. Over here, the first one is not becoming ra'ui until later. So you have a rishon that's not ra'ui. Where do you learn that a rishon that's waiting but not ra'ui also takes precedence? I can't.
It's not the same case.
That's all. Says the Gemara, Ela, Rabbi Yossi de Pesach. We're going to learn from Rabbi Yossi of Korban Pesach. Tetanya hamafrish pischo ve'abad. If somebody set aside his Korban Pesach and it got lost, on the 10th, it got lost. So he went and he bought another one. Same thing. And then they find the first one. So now he has two Korban Pesachs. Chachamim say your choice. Rabbi Yossi Omer, mitzvah barishon. Use the first. If the second one was better, Yevienu bring it. Look back on Rashi on Amud Aleph. Eller Biosi the Pesach. The first one doesn't become Ra'ui. Adet Chazai Batra till the second one becomes Ra'ui. Share Enze Shechitat Pesach. Elala Harchat Enzman Shechitat Pesach. The time for the Pesach is only after Hatzot. Vekodim Lachen. Abed Rishon. The first one is lost. He lost the first one. The Ufrashini, they set aside the second one. They're both there when the time of the Shechita comes. They become Ra'ui simultaneously. Even so, why? Because you put it aside the Rishon even though it wasn't Ra'ui. So you see, designation Rishon before being eligible is also Chashim.
But that's also not Rav. Because Rav is not giving you the choice if the other one is better.
He probably would. He would agree with that. Oh, we'll say. Yeah, didn't say.
Those sort of things to say it doesn't agree with that.
Where?
On the top of some
First thing is matniti nami neimaha. That's the first shot. Inami shema lo shayach hamilta ela begvulin o benaasim ba'azara. אבל בשעיר משתלב הנשרף חוץ לשלוש מחנות אפילו היה במאוחר ממנו מצווה בראשון. Maybe there's no din of a fatter korban if it's being burnt outside. Okay.
So we're taking part.
Or it's being knocked off the hill. Maybe not. Amar Rava, Rava says, Dika matnitin kavate de Rav. Ubraita kavate de Rabbi Yochanan. Says the Mishnah goes like Rav. And the Braita, or the Mishnah, if you look at it carefully, you'll see it's like Rav. And the Braita goes like Rabbi Yochanan. The Rav, Amatnitin, Kavate the Rav, the Mishnah goes like Rav. The Katani, it says, Im Shel Shem Met, if the Shel Shem Met, the Sa'il Hashem dies, Ze She'ala Alav Agora Hashem Yitkayem Tachtav. Right? The Shel Shem should replace the old one. The Shel Shem should replace the old one. And what about the other old one? V'idach, the other old one, Kid Kai stays where it is. That's the mashmaut of the Mishnah. Well, I'm replacing the old Shem because it's dead. The old Azazel, I'm not replacing. That's the mashmaut. So when it says Sheni, it's clearly talking about the second one from the new pair. Rashi, Yitkayem Tachtav, Eno noten temura. We're only replacing ela lezeh shemet. Aval lehai, but the one that's still alive. Eno noten temura. I'm not replacing it lihi pasil hu velavos etachtav. So that's meduyak like Rav. And the original one doesn't need replacement. The living one doesn't need replacement. Braita kavated Rabbi Yochanan. What's this braita? The katani, it says sheni. When it says sheni, heni yodeya, right? It says vasheni yireh. It's also commenting on the Mishnah. So the braita is commenting on the Mishnah. Heni yodeya im sheni shebizug rishon im sheni shebizug sheni. Is it the second one from the original pair or the second one from the second pair? Keshehu omer ya'omad chai. When it says, right? V'asa'ir asher alav hagora la'azazel ya'omad chai v'lo shechavero met. Not if the friend died. If the friend died, throw it out. Says the Gemara, my mashma. What kind of derasha is that? Ya'omad chai v'lo shekvar amad. One standing chai lechaper alav, not twice in two separate spurts. The first one, then it got then it becomes again. Look at Rashi. That's on Rav. Sheni eni yodea matnitin kai. It's commenting on the Mishnah. Sheni sheshaninu alav yireh. This second one that we said should graze eni yodea. I don't know which one, the original or the new one. Hachi gasina velo shehaviro met. Not the one that's friend died, meaning velo zeh shemet chaviro. Don't use the one that's friend died. What's the pshat? Ya'omad chai velo shekvar amad v'nidche. Not that it was ready there. It got rejected al yedem mitat chaviro because the partner died. V'achshavu bala hazor v'la'amod. And now he's coming back. Ya'omad chai amida hat. One time, velo shte amidot. Not twice. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, the end of the Mishnah. Ve'od amar Rabbi Yehuda said, Nishpach adam yamut hamishtalech. If the blood spills, the blood of the Sa'il Hashem, yamut hamishtalech. The mishtalech gets thrown out. Right? You have to kill the mishtalech. So there's two things over there. Right? One is Baalei Chayim Nidchi. When the dam spills, the mishtalech is now nidche. I have to go get another lashem, right? Because the mishtalech is not eligible until you finish the avodah lashem. So it's nidche for the meantime. Rabbi Yehuda says because it's nidche, you have to replace it. So it's going to be a chatat shekipru be'aleha. And Rabbi Yehuda says yamut because he holds chatat tzibur meta. He disagrees with what we said, that the halakha l'Moshe Sinai of chatat tzibur, chatat shenetkapru be'aleh chamesh chatat umetot doesn't apply to korbanot tzibur. Rabbi says it does. So first of all, it's nidche. Second of all, it's met. Right? So that's the first thing the Rabbi says. The second thing he says, met ha-mishtaleach, if the mishtaleach dam, yishafech adam. So that's easy. Bishlam al-Rabbi Yochanan, the Amar Ba'alei Chayim Nidchim. He holds live animals get nidche. Mishum hachi yamut ha-mishtaleach. That's why the mishtaleach dies. Because even though it's alive, right now you can't use it because you don't have dam to finish the avodat shem. Nidche, keep it nidche. Ela l'Rav, the Amar Ba'alei Chayim enam nidchim. Rav holds Ba'alei Chayim don't get pushed off. Amay yamut ha-mishtaleach. Why are you killing it? Just make another goral and use this one. I'm not saying that Rabbi Yehuda holds Ba'alei Chayim enam nidchim. Ki amina libed Rabbanan. I'm talking according to the Chachamim. So the Gemara says, you're right. Beautiful. Bishlam l'Rav. According to Rav, beha pligi Rabbi Yehuda v'Rabbanan. That's what they argue about. Rav, the Chachamim say Ba'alei Chayim enam nidchim. You can use either one, or use the first one. According to the Yehuda, Ba'alei Chayim nidchim. Ela l'Rabbi Yochanan, but according to Rabbi Yochanan, in my pligi, how do they agree that Ba'alei Chayim nidchim? Amar Rava says you're right. Ha amrinan dika matnitin kavete de Rav. Didn't I tell you the Mishnah fits like Rav better than Rabbi Yochanan? Let's see Rashi. Yamut ha-mishtaleach Rabbi Yehuda said that if the dam spills, you have to kill the mishtaleach. Alma balechayim nidchi. He's never coming back. That's why you're killing him. Kika amrina nali b'drabanan. Mida ka'amar Rabbi Yehuda. Listen to the way Rashi explains it. From the fact that Rabbi Yehuda says ve'od. First, Rabbi Yehuda said, right? The Chachamim said yireat she'ista'ef she'en chatat tzibur meta. Rabbi Yehuda omer yamut. Meaning, I disagree with you. I hold chatat tzibur meta. Ve'od amar, he says, ve'od, lashmo'inan, to teach me more, the ba'alei chayim nidchim, that they can be nidchim. Michlal, so we understand.
Yamut teaches me two things.
What?
Yamut teaches me two things.
Yamut teaches me one thing. That he says that before that, when we said Vasheni Yir'eh, right? Why Yir'eh? Why not Met? It's Chatat Shemetu Ba'aleha. Because the halacha Moshe Misinai doesn't apply to tzibur. Rabbi Yehuda says yamut. I say it applies. I'm going to tell you more. I also argue on something else. Watch. Michlal the shaminu lerabanan de ka'amri. They said sheni shebezug rishon karev. He said you could be marked with the first one, the one from the first pair, even though it was nidche. It came back. The ba'alechayim enam nidche. And then they said the sheni shebezug sheni yir'eh. And the second one from the second pair, let it graze. She'en chatat tzibur meta, exactly like Rav said. Ve'ata la'aflugi alayu betarti, he argued twice. The kamritu, this what you said, en chatat tzibur meta, ani omer tamut. Not cutting corner. Tamut. Second of all, ve'od, lo bazeh she'amartem alav yir'eh, ani omer yamut. The one that you said should yir'eh, that's not the one that I'm saying yamut. I'm saying the other one should die. Right. Who yikarev, the second one bring. V'sheni shebezug rishon yamut. You know why? Because nishpach adam yamut hamishtalech. Met lashem yamut hamishtalech. Same thing. So the Gemara says bishlam elerav. That's what we said. Bishlam elerav. Ha pligi Rabbi Yehuda v'Rabbanan. V'hai ve'od the sefer. That's what the od is to tell you. You said Balechayim enam nidchim. I say they are. Elo Rabbi Yochanan de Amar Rabbanan. Nami b'sheni shebezug rishon amru yireh. They say that in the first one, it's the first one that's yireh because it was nidche. My plea Rabbi Yehuda b'hach sefer the katani ve'od. So why is Rabbi Yehuda bothering the Chachamim? They agree with you. What do you say that it dies? You already said that. You said tamut. So that's what the Gemara says. The Gemara says the Mishnah is miduyak like Rav. Tanan, we learned she'en chatat tzibur meta. Right? The Chachamim said en chatat tzibur meta. This is complicated. So what's the case? Right? It died. One died. We replaced it. Now we have two here. Right? Right? One of them. Because it's a hatat tzibur, it's not meta. Right. Vishlama, right? Hadi yachid. If it would be a hatat yachid, ki hai gavna, in the same case, that one died, and I replaced it with a second one, it would be meta. Hatat yachid, ki hai gavna meta. L'chaura, it's muchach in the Mishnah like that. That the Chachamim say that although this is a tzibur and it's not meta, if it would be yachid, it would have been meta. That's why we said she'en chatat tzibur meta. Yeah. Okay, by yachid. Yeah. Bishlama l'Rabbi Yochanan. According to Rabbi Yochanan, kid Rabbi Abba Amarav, Rabbi Abba Amarav, hakol modim shenitkaper b'she'en avuda meta. It's complicated. We have, when do you say, right? So Rabbi Yochanan says, what's the yireh? It's the second one. The second one is no good. No. I'm sorry. According to Rabbi Yochanan, the first one is no good, right? I'm going to bring the second one. So since I brought the second one, the first one, everybody agrees. It's like Rebbe. Rebbe holds that it's what's it called? No, hakol modin shem nitkaper b'she'en avuda meta. So let's see Rashi. Rashi will explain this. Look at Rashi. Could it be abba? The Amar b'masechet Temura gabe plukta Rabbi v'Rabbanan. There's a machloka between Rabbi and the Chachamim. Shenechlaku, they argue, b'mafrish chatato v'ne'evda. You set aside a chata. Right? Somebody turned on the light by mistake on Shabbat. He set aside a korban chata. Korban chata got lost. So he set aside another one. Right? V'frish acheret tachteha. V'nimtzet harishona. Now they found the first one. V'aresh tehem omdot. He has both of them. The Ka'ama Rabbi says, mitkaper be'ahat mehem v'asheniya tamu. Whichever one you use, the other one dies. V'chachamim omrim, en chatat shenetkapru be'aleh meta. So you know when chatat shenetkapru be'aleh is meta? When you find it after. After the kapara. But if you find it before, that's not what we're talking about. Ela shenimtzet la'achar shekipru be'alu. Aval nimtza kodem kapara la'achar afrasha ro'ah. But if you find it after you set aside a new one, but before the kapara, choose one, and the other one, let it graze. Rabbi holds, even though you found it before, it's a meta. The Chachamim say, no, if you found it before, it's not meta. It sounds like they argue, no matter which one you do, right? Choose one, let the other one graze. Rabbi Abbas says, no. What? If you find it after meta.
You don't have to come on to Hatat Zibur and a meta then.
What? Calm down. Wait. Wait. The Amar Rabbi Abba ala hakol modim. Everybody agrees. Shem nitkaper b'she'ena avuda dahainu shniya. Shufra shacharon avuda meta. Even the Chachamim agree. They said you don't kill it. They don't kill it unless you found it after. Doesn't mean that when they come, they're both here. Whichever one I choose, the other one is Ras. Not true. If I use the second one, the first one dies. No matter when you found it. The question is only if you use the first one, what happens to the second one?
Again?
If you use the new one, even though you found the old one before, the first one is meta. It's only the only question. If I use the original one, what happens to the second one? Rabbi says meta, and the Chachamim say not meta. So let's read it inside in the Rashi. Rashi says, "V'amar Rabbi Abba hakol modim." Everybody agrees. Shem nitkaper b'she'en avuda. If you use the one that wasn't lost, dahainu shniya shufra shacharon that was set aside second avuda meta. Shekach ne'emar halacha l'Moshe miSinai chatat she'avda v'nitkapru be'aleha be'acheret harishona tamut meta. No matter when, no matter what. Lo nechlaku, they argue, ela shenitkaper barishona v'ashniya omedet. If you use the first one and the second one is still there. Ubeha pligi. Rabbi savar mafrish letzorich tashlume abud ke'abud dami. Rabbi says, setting it aside to make up the lost one takes on exactly the same as the lost one. But Rabbanan Savri Lav Abu Dhabi. It's not like the lost one, it's like something like that. So now if we apply that rule over here, Bishlam Rabbi Yochanan, according to Rabbi Yochanan, the Amar Sheni Shebezug Rishon Katani Matnitim Yir'eh. We said that you set aside the first one to graze, right? Hainu the Yahif Ta'ama. The reason is Mishum De'en Chatat Zibur Meta. Because everybody agrees that if you use the second one, the first one dies b'yachid. Even though I found it before, right? When I use the new one, the old one dies. So to over here, since I can't use the old one, why? Because it's nitkapru, it's nitche, right? I can't use the old one because it was nitche. I'm going to use the new one. When I'm using the new one,
first one, everybody has to die.
the first one, everyone has to die. So if it would be Hatat Yachid, it would die. Now there's Hatat Zibur, it's Yireh. Rabbi Yochanan is good. Right? The Haber, נתכפר בשאין העבודה. I use the אין העבודה, והדחויה קיימת, and the original one is there. והכל מודים שמת.
So that's the machlok between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Chachamim.
Right, so the Chachamim say, don't kill it, because it's Sibur, and Rabbi Yehuda says, kill it, even though it's Sibur. But if it would be Yachid, you would kill it. Ela l'Rav. Rav says you can bring the first one.
Chachamim is like Rav and Rav.
Whoa, slow. Rav, Rabbi Yehuda said, the Rav says you bring the first one. So according to the Chachamim, it's not a meta. Why? Because if you found them before and they're both here, and I use the avuda, the she'en avuda, according to the Chachamim, it's not meta. So even biyachid it wouldn't be meta. What do you tell me? She'en chatat tzibur meta. It's not true. Hakol modim, right? Ela l'Rav, havale kemafrish te hataol harayut. V'amar Rabbi Oshaya, hefrish shete hataol harayut. מתכפר באחד מהם והשנייה תראה רש"י. אלא לרב. דאמר בשני שבזוג שני קטני מתניתין דיראה. Which one is grazing? The second one from the new pair. ובראשון שנדחה. The original one that got pushed off and comes back. יתכפר. עמי היד ליחיד תמות. Why if it would be a יחיד should it die? לא מבאי לרבנן. Not only according to the Chachamim. So what are you going to say? Rav goes like Rabbi. Rav like Rabbi, no problem. Lo mi baya l'Rabanan, de lo meta. Not only according to the Chachamim, de lo meta dahanit kaper b'dechuya. He used the dechuya. Ve'inu amri, and they say mafrish le'abud lav k'abud dami. That the one that you set aside to replace the replacement. It's not like the abud that it ties if you use the other one. El afilu l'Rabbi lo meta. Shareb. Lo hufrash letashlume abud. It wasn't set aside to be the tashlumim of the abud. Shareh mitechila haya rishon kayam. When I set it aside, the first one was there, and I knew it was going to be there. I knew it's coming back online, right? It's not like it's lost and I didn't know where it is. I had a technicality. I needed a second one. I needed a shem. And I'm going to have a second Azazel. So what's my intention with the Azazel? Wait, if I need it, I'll use it. Right? Right? Lo hufrash letashlume avud. Shareh mitchila haya rishon kayam. Ubeshvil ha-mishtaleach shemet, because of the mishtaleach that died, utzrach lavi shnayim. Vekivan de'em ba'alei chayim nidchin, mi'ikara ibai hay makriv. Right? Merely I could have brought either one. It's like I'm putting aside two for security. Right? So I was telling him, it's like the guy says, buy two. You never know if one is going to die. Like the warranty, the extended warranty on everything. Right? It's like he's setting aside two for ahrayut. Shem yobar echa mehem yavi et chavero. The Amar Rabbi Oshaya says, Sheni yireh afilu l'Rebbe. In that case, even Rebbe agrees the second one is yireh, because it was never it's not mafrish le'abud ke'abudam. It's not mafrish le'abud. Lo frasha le'ibud. I didn't set aside for a lost one. So the Gemara says, we answer like this.
In case, the second one was actually when he bought two. He never intended to make them both.
Right. It was only a backup. Okay. So two over here. Says the Gemara, Kivan da Amar Rava, since Rava says, Rabbi Savar Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi holds like Rabbi Yossi. That what? That you have to use the original one. Dama mitzvah berishon, mi'ikara ke mafrish li'ibudam. So you knew you weren't using this one. It was mafrish li'ibud. That if I find the first one, and it's going to go.
Also told you
it's not really a harayut. What?
Also told you if the other one is better.
I knew this one, but I know which one. I know it's not better.
He lost it. Maybe it came with some damages on it. I don't know.
No, but if I didn't lose it. It's there. It's not lost. Okay, we'll leave it here.
What does Rabbi hold if there's no Rabbi? There's a gum. You got the first one and you got the damage. You got moon.
You got
another one.
Okay.
So now the other one got better. What do you do? But the same case as the other set.
I would assume so.
Because it wasn't a root.
Okay.
So what is the old that you kill both of them or you kill
Rabbi? I don't know.
That's the same case as the
yeah.
But both of them are available. You're losing.
I don't think he's spoken that. This is the closest case you have to.
Very nice.
Let's go, Mr.
This is complicated, not yesterday.
They're both
Kind of
complicated.
wait for today to see what happens.
What's doing, Yossi?
How are you, Rabbi?
Take care.